All right, so today we're digging into the story of Builder.ai. Now, this was a startup that didn't just promise a revolution, it actually hit unicorn status. But then it all came crashing down in a pretty spectacular way, leaving behind a bunch of angry customers, really confused employees, and one giant question. What? What was actually being built behind that billion-dollar valuation? This was the hook. The big, super seductive idea at the heart of their whole pitch. Just think about it. Building a complex, totally custom app for your business, and it's as easy as ordering a pizza? I mean, come on. It's a simple, powerful message that just completely captured the imagination of everyone, from entrepreneurs to big-time investors. And let me tell you, that promise, it worked incredibly well. At its absolute peak, Builder.ai was valued at a staggering $1.5 billion. It had pulled in hundreds of millions from major players. We're talking Microsoft and the Qatar Investment Authority. So yeah, this wasn't some tiny garage startup. This was a celebrated, white-hot name in the global tech world.
Okay, so what was this billion-dollar promise? How on earth did they convince so many smart people that they were about to completely change software development as we know it?
Well, it all started back in 2016 with its founder, Sachin Dev, a pretty charismatic serial entrepreneur. And right from the get-go, you can see the branding leaned into this almost magical idea. Duggal wasn't just a CEO. Oh no. His official title was Chief Wizard, which immediately sets this tone that, hey, we're here to make the impossible possible. So the magic, supposedly, was built on a few key ideas. First, the platform would assemble your app from these pre-coded Lego blocks. Simple enough. Then you had an AI chatbot named Natasha who was supposed to act as your project manager. The founder even went on record claiming the AI could build 80% of an app all by itself, which would make the whole thing 6 times faster and 70% cheaper. I mean, that was the pitch. And what a pitch it was. Right. So that was the story they told the world. But what was really going on behind the AI curtain? Because when you start listening to what former employees saw and experienced, a very different picture starts to take shape. And here's where you can really see that disconnect. The promise, on one hand, was Natasha, this brilliant AI product manager that could turn weeks of work into mere hours. The reality, though, according to the people who worked there, a heavy reliance on human engineers. A ton of the actual coding was outsourced to what they called capacity partners in places like India and Ukraine. You know, a former productologist, which is what Builder.ai actually called its product managers, they put it really bluntly. They said, and I'm quoting here, that humans did most of the custom work, and that even the code the AI did generate often had to be fixed or completely reworked. So, in other words, the AI wasn't the master builder, it was more like an intern. So, this creates a pretty big problem, right? If your platform is sold as this revolutionary AI, but in reality it's a much slower, human-powered process, what do you think the customers experienced? Well, the result was just constant frustration. And to really understand that frustration, let's just follow the journey of one entrepreneur who signed up, who bought into the dream. So let's talk about Anurag Gulati. He's an entrepreneur who wanted to build a dating app. He said the sales pitch was really smart, and they quoted him $10,000. Sounds good, right? But pretty soon he realized that promised timeline was just impossible. The process dragged on, and the prototypes he got were buggy. In his own words, they seemed to be getting worse. So after paying them $7,000, he just cut his losses, took his remaining money, and hired his own team to build the app from scratch. And Anurag Gulati's final verdict really sums up what so many other customers felt. It's great sales, but zero execution. The pitch was flawless. The delivery? Completely broken. Now, a disconnect like that between the promise and the reality, it can't last forever. Eventually, all those operational problems started to create some really serious financial cracks in the company's shiny billion-dollar facade.
And the collapse, when it came, was just breathtakingly fast. I mean, think about this. In May of 2023, the company is on top of the world, raising $250 million. Fast forward to March 2024, and reports are starting to pop up about inflated revenues. Then, it all just implodes on a single day, May 20th, 2024. In a remote, all hands meeting, the CEO announces the company is completely out of money and the entire staff is let go. Just like that.
And this is the question that all the former employees were left asking themselves. The company had raised a truly staggering amount of money, over $445 million in total. So where did it all go? According to insiders, the company was just burning through cash, and that expensive, delay-filled outsourcing model was a huge part of the problem.
And this quote right here, it just drives home the real human cost of the collapse. For hundreds of employees all over the world, the end came so suddenly, without any warning, in a 30-minute Zoom call. One product manager was actually on a call with a client when he found out he didn't have a job anymore. Just gone.
So what's the bigger lesson here? What can we take away from this? The story of Builder.ai is just such a potent, cautionary tale about a trend in tech that we're seeing more and more of. It's called AI washing. So what exactly is AI washing? Well, simply put, it's the practice of exaggerating or just plain making up how much AI your product uses, all to seem more cutting edge, to attract those big-name investors, and, of course, to justify a massive valuation. It's gotten so common that the SEC, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, has actually started cracking down on it. This leaves us with two totally competing stories. On one side, you have the critics, who say this is classic AI washing. Just slap the AI label on what's basically a human-powered business to drive up its value. But then you have the company's CEO, who publicly defended it. He wrote on LinkedIn, in all caps, "This is not a story about fake AI." He claimed it was a story of resilience, of a company with real technology that was just trying to clean up its financial past. And maybe the real truth lies somewhere in this final thought from another former employee. They said, the AI wasn't fake, but it also wasn't the revolutionary, world-changing force the marketing made it out to be. It was an assistant, a pretty good one that was getting better, but that's all it was, an assistant. The problem was, the company was sold to the world as if that assistant was already the master of the universe. And that leaves all of us with this final, really crucial question. Right now, in the middle of this AI gold rush, where it feels like every company is trying to stake a claim, how can you tell what's real from what's just hype? The story of Builder.ai is a stark reminder to always look past the buzzwords, to look past the promises of pizza-like simplicity. It really challenges all of us to ask tougher questions and to figure out how to separate the genuine breakthroughs from the brilliant but empty promises.